All right, guys, welcome to Wholesale Hotline pre-show. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. Today, what we have going on is we have behind the scenes, we have Landry Morby. For those of you that don't know, she helps run the technical side of BatchDriven, and I feel like that's going to be something that we're going to talk about today. I feel like, we're going to hop into it. If you guys have any questions when it comes to the technical side of how to use BatchDriven, that's exactly what we're going to cover today. And I kind of wanted to set the foundation that there's a few ways you can actually utilize the BatchDriven app. So we're going to bring Landry on, and then we're going to be able to answer any questions you guys have. So let me bring in Landry now.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. We had some technical difficulties last time.
Yes. Okay. So I'm excited to have you on because I know you run like the technical side, and I get a ton of questions on how do I make new folders? What's the best way to go about driving for dollars? This entire 30 minutes is going to be just dedicated to answering any questions that people are going to have. Okay. So I feel like if we can pull up the BatchDriven app, let's pretend that we're just brand new, and I'm going to ask questions as if I've never driven for dollars. That way everyone can get value from today.
Perfect. So let me share my screen. I think I figured this out. Hold on, I'm going to switch this over here real quick. Okay.
Miss Landry.
There you go. Hey, Zachary, how's it going? And share.
Scott, yes, this is just the pre-show. So that's going to happen in about 30 more minutes.
You're not
Jamil. 30 more minutes.
Okay.
This is just going to be the pre-show.
Okay, here we go. There we go. I'm a genius. Okay, so can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. So sorry, guys. We're just going to have to deal. It's on Google Meet, I know. And there's no way, like, Google doesn't let you make your host go bye-bye. Oh, wait. Kind of, you can. Okay. So anyway, this is just me sharing my screen on here. This is the best way to go about it that we figured out. So, say you just started using BatchDriven, you just got it downloaded. There's lots of different ways to go about it. Obviously, you guys have seen Bryce do a lot of, virtually driving for dollars. And then for those of you that you guys don't know or haven't downloaded this yet, the mobile app is good for when you're out on the go, or if you're running errands and find a beaten up property, it's good to pull out of your pocket and add that property. So I guess just getting into, so you're brand new, you get in here, there's a few different ways to go about it. I don't know in what kind of approach, if you're thinking, like if it was you, Bryce, would you be going about, hey, I'm just going to get in my car and drive around, or would you more have a list ready to go and go hit those?
Yeah, so that's a good point. That's actually what I wanted to start with first. I feel there's pretty much two ways you can pull a list. You can have a predetermined list like your pre-foreclosures, your vacants, your tired landlords. I feel like a lot of people don't know that that's an actual feature for you guys to go and drive for dollars, go knock those. So I would say let's start by pulling a predetermined list, like a pre-foreclosure. If I'm brand new, that's probably going to be the first thing that I do, just because they have a timeline, a ticking timeline. They're probably going to be the most motivated out of all of the other categories.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, that's a great way to go about it, because, you could just, of course, get in your car, but I feel like, with driving for dollars, especially physically in itself, is time consuming. So I personally feel like when I'm talking to people that having a plan before you go, you're going to have way better use of your day. So let's say that you're in here, let's say that you're in the base plan. You can do this with vacant properties as well. Go, at least see them. It'd be different if you're going to go door knock them and, go to their mailing addresses. So in this case, we're just going to do a pre-foreclosure search. I'm going to do in this case, I kind of just want to do a boundary to show. I mean, in what way would you do it? Do you want to do something more like a city or like a boundary? I think is usually a good way to kind of get started in here, because it's small, it's focused, and it's easy to follow in BatchDriven with the line.
Yeah, I think we just do just a boundary search, because I think that's going to be the best way to get hold of these people, if you have, 25 to 30 pre-foreclosures, you can go back and you can hit those without wasting a lot of gas or a lot of time. So that's what I would do, is pull 25 to 30 in a specific area.
Perfect. So, and bear with me, guys, I'm in a really in the middle of nowhere spot. So we're not going to probably have, who knows what we'll pull up. But anyway, what I did here is I went to my search bar, I hit boundary, and it brings me straight back to my map. So I'm just going to go to this neighborhood that I actually to go into. So anyway, let's say that you're looking at the map and you're like, hey, I just kind of want to hit this area today. And you want to simply just start tapping your screen. We'll do something larger, just to kind of lay that out than I normally would do. So lay out another little thing here. So just to give you guys an idea, lay those 4 points, tap that little blue check mark button in the top right, and then that will bring up your filters. So this is where, and if you guys are in a different plan, of course, you'll be able to see, why are things grayed out? You're probably in a different plan that doesn't offer these, but I'm in the middle plan where I can pull up, looking up dwelling type, owner type, year built and everything. I'm going to just pull up a quick list of pre-foreclosures. So pretty close to what you're kind of talking about, 17. I'm going to save them to a folder. And I'm probably just going to put this in my Phoenix pre-foreclosures folder. That makes sense to me. Obviously, I know I'm not in Phoenix, but just to give you guys an idea, I'm placing this to a pre-foreclosure folder. It's going to be easier for me to manage and look into later. Would you mark or put this into something different in your eyes, Bryce? Would you put this into a driving for dollars folder?
No, I would do a pre-foreclosure.
Okay.
I usually buy the city. So if I'm pulling up Mesa, Arizona pre-foreclosures, I'll have a Mesa pre-foreclosure folders just designated for those pre-foreclosures.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. So I'm in Sierra Vista. We're just doing this for the sake of this. If you guys are kind of just getting started, of course, you can edit your folders and make a new one right off the spot right there if you don't have any created. So it's not going to be hard for you to just create one, place those properties in your folder, and save those. So what's going to happen on the mobile app is that, so yes, I've saved those properties into my folder, but it will always give me an option to just get in my car and let the app kind of take me to those properties and track my route along the way. So if I hit no, I don't have to, but I'm going to hit yes, and it will bring up my folders again. What I usually do here is I pick my driving for dollars folder for my default. It's so that while I'm going to visit those 17 pre-foreclosures that day, I have another folder in my back pocket so that if the neighbor of 123 Street looks like it hits all the marks, I might just add that to my driving for dollars folder. That's usually what I would do. What would you do in this case, Bryce? Is that something kind of similar?
Same exact thing. Kill two birds with one stone. Go knock your pre-foreclosures. If you find houses that are the 2 or more of the 4 pillars that we talk about, that's going to be a property that you want to get a hold of. You can either go and knock it, or you can cold call it later throughout the day. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm going to pick my driving for dollars folder. It's just to help eliminate that time that you're going to be spending, looking at your phone and placing it into a folder. So it will, let me turn this around. It will lay a little bit of a line. And this is why I also kind of like the boundary, because it's going to be, at first it may be overwhelming, but it's going to be all in that same area that you're probably going to want to hit most of these streets anyway. And for a lot of you guys that are new, I know this looks overwhelming anyway. I've added a ton of properties in this neighborhood prior. So in my case, I might filter out my map to wipe other things off, because technically I just pulled up 17 properties, not all of mine. So I might go to the top right-hand corner and just filter that folder out. So I'm going to do that. Pull up just my Phoenix pre-foreclosures folder on my map. So if you've already added a ton of properties in one area and you're wanting to go hit some other ones, it may start to be, get too heavy in there, but it should let you filter those out. So now it looks a little bit more normal. Like, okay, there's 2 over here. While I'm going to visit those 2 properties, I'm going to hit the rest of the street, kind of thing. So when you add a property for the first time, it will be new
It's just meaning it's a brand new lead to you. It's new to your account. So I could be driving down. I'm going to turn these on real quick. Okay. Driving down the street, I could go visit those pre-foreclosures. Take my photos here if I want to take my own pictures, kind of getting into that, visiting those, but keeping my eyes open for the rest of the neighborhood kind of thing while I'm out and about.
Boom. Okay, so now there's a few ways that you can actually go about approaching this. You can, of course, go knock those pre-foreclosures, or let's say that you're outside the house and it's a pretty beat up house and it's a pre-foreclosure. What you can do is you can cold call it right from there. So Landry, how do we go about skip tracing the information and pulling up those phone numbers?
So super, super easy. You'll just scroll down and it's instantaneous. If we have the contact information, it will just pop right up. And we are going to be making some updates too on being able to send people text and mail a lot quicker, because you guys can do that in here too. That's going to be coming in a few weeks, which is exciting. Give this a second here if it wants to do it.
Got it. So you
usually it's pretty genius. Sorry, say that again, Bryce.
So you can actually send SMS and mail campaigns from this one app.
Yes. So you can be out and about. And like I said, we're going to be making it even easier. So like down here, after those phone numbers pull up, I'll be able to just send them a text here, like super, super easy. Instead of right now, you do a campaign and you kind of put all of your leads that maybe you found that day together. But you can do texting or send a postcard or letter too, depending on the style of marketing that you're liking. Don't know why it's not wanting to do it on this one. Maybe it's just my internet connection. Let's see here. I doubt that's going to help, but.
Let me ask a few questions while Landry pulls that up. So we had a question here. Is Landry related to Pace? Says Bernice. Yes, they are.
I am.
Related. Okay, looks like we see it. Zachary says, loving all the new features in BatchDriven's mobile app. Driving for dollars has never been easier. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to go out there, take action, drive for dollars, or go knock doors. I mean, everything is done in this one app. It's truly a one-stop shop to help you guys get your first deal.
Yes, definitely. Sorry, guys, it just doesn't want to do it for us right now. But usually you'll click skip trace and the numbers are there. Phone numbers, whether they're mobile, landline, email addresses, if we have them as well. But that easy to pull up their contact information if you want to give them a quick call. We don't have calling ability built into BatchDriven just yet. So, if you have another, don't you, Bryce, you use another like dialer that you're placing your phone numbers into when you're cold calling people, yeah?
Yeah, we have so on Pace and Cody's, for those of you that might not know, I'm also on Pace and Cody and Matt's acquisition side of the team. And what we do is we plug it into smartphone. So smartphone is just a way for us to do our follow-up leads. So I'll actually just pull that up in smartphone and call them. That way I can track my KPIs. I know how many calls I'm making, my contact ratio, all of that good stuff.
Okay, nice. So yeah, getting the phone numbers. Let's see. Hey, Claudio, we have some, so we're always updating a ton of stuff in BatchDriven. We try to really listen to our user suggestions as well. Some things that we just brought in like last week, I'll kind of show you guys. And then we're also bringing some other things in the beginning of July, which I'm really excited about. They may seem like really small things to people, but there are things that I feel like will just overall, we're all trying to, I feel like, maximize our time spent out there, whether you're virtually driving or physically driving. And a lot of our updates are going to be bringing that. But it's not on the mobile app yet. A lot of our newer updates we brought last week and before, they're on the desktop where you can actually see a live view of, the MLS status at a glance here. We did bring in a comping tool really recently, which is pretty cool. You guys all have access to this. You don't have to pay extra for it. Just a lot of things that they're working on bringing in here kind of thing. So let's see here. I wish that phone number would pull up. So sorry about that, guys. Give that a try if you're using your account. You're looking at a property, you want the information, just click skip trace and that should work. I think it's just my connection.
Yep, easy.
But what else would you do here, Bryce? Would you take your own photo of the property, or kind of what else would you kind of be doing here if you were right in front of it?
I have the performance package, so there's already a photo added on there. But one thing that I could do, let's say that I'm scared to go knock these pre-foreclosures, what you guys can do is utilize just leaving sticky notes. I have a sticky note right here. I always pre-write these out the day before we go knock on pre-foreclosures. Mine just says, it's super simple. Hey, was just stopping by regarding the lender. Okay, super straightforward. And I kind of want to make it mysterious. That way my contact ratio, my callbacks are going to be a lot higher. So that's really what I have. It says, hey, was just stopping by regarding the lender. And then I have my Google Voice number on the notepad. That way, when I get a call from my mobile app, I know that it's going to be a pre-foreclosure related conversation.
Perfect. Love that. Okay, great. Well, I mean, this is one of the ways, that Bryce is bringing up is doing a search, finding those pre-foreclosures, and then going and hitting those. And basically, so just to reiterate for you guys, the pins will pop up. Those are the ones you just found. You just save them to your folder. And then while you're there, you're driving along the street. Let's say that their neighbor down here, you're interested in adding, like this 1133. When you're tracking your route, it will bring up two options for you. So if you press save immediately, it's just going to be able to be saved super quick, and you can continue on your drive. You're visiting those pre-foreclosures and then hitting the rest of the neighborhood, seeing if there's anything else that might not be pre-foreclosure, but maybe it's vacant, or just in general, it hits your criteria that you're looking for. Being able to save that really quick, or then once again, you can always park in front of the property, decide if you want to take your time before really adding it, kind of thing here as well. So
right. And one thing to keep noted, if you're just driving for dollars, and this is kind of what I have pulled up, it talks about the 4 pillars. So when we're driving for dollars, we want to have, authority behind what we're actually doing. So when we talk about the 4 pillars, the whole point of driving for dollars is to have this custom small niche list that's not going to be expensive for you to skip trace. It's not going to be expensive for you guys to actually market to. So we want to narrow down only the ugliest houses that we can find. And that's what we do with the 4 pillars. So the 4 pillars that we talk about is going to be poor landscape is going to be number 1. The second one is going to be exterior distress, meaning that the paint is starting to chip. Maybe the windows are broken or boarded up. The third thing that we talk about is a damaged roof. So a lot of times when you're driving for dollars, you're going to find houses that have shingles missing. We've seen houses with like bricks and tires on it, or even tarps. And the last and final thing that we talk about is going to be trash, junk, or broken down cars. Now, if it has 2 or more of those 4 pillars, that's going to be a house that we would actually add to our driving for dollars folder. Okay, so when you're driving for dollars, make sure you're only adding houses that truly have the 2 or more 4 pillars, because chances are if you're adding houses with just poor landscape, you're going to have 1,000 houses and you're going to have to make those calls, and those people are not going to have motivation, right? So that's the whole point behind the 4 pillars. So Samantha, if you didn't know that already, that's what we meant by the 4 pillars.
Yeah, so I mean, this neighborhood I really like to show to people because it has a lot of those things. It's not just like, okay, there's 3 properties that have, it's overgrown kind of thing. There's a ton of vacant lots in this neighborhood. A lot of the properties had just a ton piled up in the backyard. I love this neighborhood because the whole neighborhood's like this. Or their backyard's filled with like 10 cars kind of thing. Like there's obvious, it's more than just your average, overgrown or needs extra care kind of thing. And the majority of them look this way. So let's see, there's this really good one over here. But kind of being able to, and I know that while Bryce was talking, I wanted to show you guys while he was talking what he's talking about to give you a visual, of course. So feel free if you guys have questions about this. I basically just looked up a property really quick by the address. But BatchDriven gives you the ability to do something really specific as well. So if you're not wanting to pull up a list and you already have, a few properties in mind, you can pull them up here, get the information kind of thing. Same idea. Be able to look at all the details there, take your own photos, all that good stuff. So I don't know if I do want to show one other thing because I think we should jump into the virtually driving as well.
Yes.
But you guys can also create a route with properties you already have in your account. So being able to manage those, create routes with that, it doesn't have to be something right now. You know, maybe you pulled a list of pre-foreclosures yesterday and you have time today. You can always pull those up as well and then keep track of all your driving routes here as well. So on both desktop and mobile, you'll be able to manage pretty much the exact same things. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to my computer real quick, just because I know we're short on time. Okay, so when you, Bryce, would you say when you're virtually driving, like, do you scout that area first, or do you pull a list in that area, then check it out? Like, what's kind of your strategy when you're virtually driving for dollars?
Yeah, so the first thing that I do if I'm virtually driving for dollars is talking to the cash buyers. Okay, you want to drive for dollars in an area where cash buyers are actually buying in. That way you can sell that contract fairly easily. So talk to your cash buyers and they're going to tell you, the zip codes, the counties, the neighborhoods that they're actually buying in. And then you're just going to pull it up either on the address, city, or zip county, the search at the top. And that's going to be a good area for you to start. And then what I always do is I try to find non-HOA neighborhoods, like what Landry had just pulled up, houses that have a bunch of trash or broken down cars in the front yards, the backyards. That's going to be an area that I want to focus on. That way I can easily add 25 to 30 properties every single day.
Yeah, so I mean, I like that too, like actually seeing, because I think that that's the very start of like, okay, I'm just going to drop down a Google Street View and just find properties. But I like that you're, the very first step is finding what people are even looking to buy with your cash buyers very firsthand. But, to give you guys this is the same neighborhood, but just to show you guys kind of how that looks. And also, since we're on the desktop, you'll be able to see some of our newer updates as well, just in the details of what I'm kind of talking about. But say you do find an area, obviously I've added a ton of properties here. Basically what I did was I found a non-HOA neighborhood first. I'm not going to be looking, I guess, unless my buyers are looking for a HOA neighborhood. But I did a vacant search here. There's a few others that are not vacant that I've added as well, but basically laying a foundation for yourself, having a few properties you're going to want to hit kind of thing, and then going up to the top right-hand corners, there's a little Google icon. No matter what plan you're in, whatever the case is, you guys can all do this, super easy. So just drag and drop the Google icon onto a blue line here. And you can actually track your routes. So if you guys are thinking about bringing a virtual assistants into your business and kind of ramping things up, or if it's just you, one-man show, you'll be able to, in the top right-hand corner, actually begin tracking as if you were doing this in your car. So green to go when you're done for the day, red to stop. So now it's actually going to keep track of where you're going to go. If you do have those team members, you're not going to have to worry about, did we go down this street last month? I don't remember, kind of thing. So here's a perfect one. Boarded up door, really damaged roof. Would you say 2 out of the 4 pillars, or this would, I guess, be 3? No.
Yeah, I would
2.
say as long as it has 2 or more of the 4 pillars. So, I mean, it looks like a damaged roof. Honestly, this is a perfect house that you would want to see if you can get in contact with the owner. Just the fact that it's so small, this might be a complete teardown to where you're just selling the piece of land. But, that's always a conversation you're going to have with that seller.
Right. So, I mean, coming in here and being able to see like, okay, it's vacant. They've owned it for 23 years kind of thing. So they're a retired landlord. Being able to see that really easily. But, and then while you're going to visit those vacant properties that you've found, their neighbor right here that I showed earlier on my phone, they are not vacant, but it's a great example of I don't know why my computer's taking a long time. Sorry about that, guys. Something of, there's something else kind of going on here. So just a ton going on in the backyard kind of thing. So
yeah, that's
something else kind of going on there.
House that you would want to add.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys are thinking about doing this too, maybe make like a virtually driving for dollars folder. It's meant for you doing this down in Google Street View kind of thing.
So Kara, to answer this, it says, how much is BatchDriven? There's a few different plans, so it really depends on, what plan that you're looking to get. The base plan is $49 just for the base plan. And really it can do everything. You can build your driving for dollars list from there. You can skip trace. You can do driving for dollars virtually. So the base plan is $49. The performance package looks like it's $119, and then the performance plus is going to be $199. So really just depends on what your budget allows for it. But with driving for dollars, that's how 80% of people will get their first deal. So you want to keep in mind that it's not going to cost too much money to get started. I see Brent in the back dancing.
Oh, well, you said Brent?
Yeah, you see him in that. Yeah, so
where is he? No, you can see him, but I can't.
Actually do run comparables. That's a new feature that they've added. And that's the cool thing with Batch. They're constantly coming out with new updates just to make our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, so here's this property right here. If you just scroll down a little bit further, it's right here, comparables. So, a lot of the other platforms out there too, you might have to pay extra for this, but you guys all have access. So earlier with the question about how much this is, if you're just looking to get started, the base plan's a great place to like Bryce is talking about, get in there and build your driving for dollars list. The biggest difference between those are, being able to pull more information like pre-foreclosures, tax delinquent, cash buyers. But if you guys are just getting in there and getting started with building that list, the 49 would work out great. So the comping tool in here is really new. Super excited about this, but you guys all have access just right within the details of the property, being able to filter out a bunch of other things as well.
Boom. Okay, we got about 2 more minutes, so I think this is going to be a good question to end it on. Joe says, being completely new to this, where would I start to learn about BatchDriven and all of its features? If you go to BatchDriven app on Instagram, I'm going to type it in the comments. BatchDriven app on Instagram, Joe. You can ask me any questions whatsoever. I hop on phone calls with people. Whatever we need to do to help you get started, I'd be more than happy to do so.
Yeah, and if you guys are getting started and you start a trial in here, we do complimentary onboarding sessions as well in terms of the technical side, getting to know how to use the tool, setting up your settings, all the nitty-gritty stuff too. We have somebody that will teach you guys over a Google Meet call live. You don't have to pay anything for that. So just a lot of resources that are available to you guys. Facebook group, YouTube channel, the Instagram, and our support here is awesome too. So
boom.
Yep, great community.
Hi, Landry. Before we head out, is there any last parting words you want to say to the audience?
I would just say, the biggest thing in here, because we have so many different types of users, people that are ramping up their business that have been around for years, and people that just got started 2 months ago. So I just would say that consistency is so key, with BatchDriven, with anything real estate, and keeping track of that. Go in and look at your reports. I feel like Bryce is a good resource in terms of hey, how many properties should I add today? What should I be looking at? Maybe getting an idea, and then do something you can stick with, and it's not going to be a one-day thing. Consistency is so key. So that's my final say on that. Just getting in here and taking action for sure.
Boom. All right, guys, that is the end of the pre-show, and now the main show is about to start. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Bye, guys.
Hey, it is time for Wholesale Hotline, Landry. Thank you, guys. We are going to get started here in just a second. Let me pull some of this stuff off the screen. Thank you, Landry. Guys, Brent Daniels is going to open up the show here in just a second. So give me about 1 minute and we'll get started.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Go! Wholesale Hotline number 71. I am one of three hosts, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. Next to me is Pace Morby, Mr. Sub 2, and Mr. Astro going to the moon, Jamil Damji. Now listen, I'm going to start this thing off fast, and I'm going to start this thing off with a lot of energy, okay? Because I am so passionate about this business. I know what this business can do for everybody that is listening and watching this show. But I want to break this thing down really, really, really simple, okay? For everybody that's just getting started, or maybe everybody that has anybody that has some experience, the fact is, if you want to have unlimited success, let me say that again, unlimited success in your real estate journey, in your real estate business, you have to master the three things that we talk about on this show every single week. And those three things were in the intro. That is lead generation, that is conversion of those property owners into a signed agreement, getting that commitment, and then there is exit strategy, what we like to call in the wholesaling world, disposition. But let me ask you something. Let me put this to you, because I think that this is a sticking point for a lot of people. Which one's more important, right? Is it lead generation? Can you do anything if you don't have any leads? Can you convert anything? Can you sell anything if you don't have any leads? Well, what if you have a bunch of leads, but you never follow up with them? Maybe you never pre-qualify them. Maybe you don't understand values. Maybe you just stumble and fumble and bumble when you're on the presentations that you're trying to offer that motivated property owner. Or what if you go and you get the leads and you convert those leads, but you have nobody to sell them to? There's no way that you can sell these properties because you don't have a cash buyer database, because you don't have the funds to be able to close it and flip it yourself, because you haven't made those relationships. The fact is, this is the answer. None of them are more important than the other. They all have to work together. They all have to work. So you got to take an honest look at your business right now and literally look at it from like 1 to 10 and rank, how good am I at lead generation? How good am I at converting those leads into contracts? And then, am I getting the absolute most out of every single opportunity that I put all of that energy, all of that rejection, all of that anxiety, all of that stress, all of those things, all of that courage that I had to get all the way to the point where I have something that can convert into income or into equity for myself and my family? It all goes together. Rank yourself 1 to 10 on each of the three parts. Don't overcomplicate it. Where are you the best? Where can you improve? Every single day, improvement and learning. That is what just creates a fantastically, a wonderfully balanced and incredibly exciting life, is constant and never-ending improvement. All right. With that, thank you guys for allowing me this soapbox to stand on. I'm excited for number 71 here, Wholesale Hotline. Thank you guys. Pace, Jamil. Love you guys. How are we doing?
What up? Can you guys hear me okay? Wonderful. My mic said it got unplugged, so I just check it. How are you, Brent? How are you, Pace? I just saw you, Pace.
I'm surprised you made it all the way back home after coming over here and hanging out with me.
You didn't know I teleport, dog?
That was the fastest I've ever seen anybody teleport, bro. So there's a couple comments on the side here already. Joe Wilson says, I'm new. So anybody that's new in Wholesale Hotline, please make a comment in the side chat. You've got Brent Daniels. Check out his YouTube channel. Also, Wednesdays, he goes live. He has one of the coolest lives. I personally watch it. I don't consume a lot of other people's content because I'm busy making my own, but I do consume Brent Daniels' content. I consume Jamil's. I consume a couple of our other buddies, and Brent Daniels, by and large, is the best content creator because he is so freaking passionate. On Wednesdays, dude, that probably is the best format of a show. It's like multiple different types of ideas of a show all mixed into one. So Wednesdays, what time do you go live on YouTube, Brent?
10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 10
a.m. Write that down, guys. Write that down in your book. Put it in your calendar. Put it on there. Jamil also, I would say, has the best idea of a show that nobody has done. He's been a guest host on other people's shows that said, Jamil, I really want you on here to talk about this one topic. But literally, the best idea of a show, I'd say, in the last year has come from Jamil's straight out of comping. It is something that this industry needed, is somebody that is doing 60 to 100 transactions every single month, teaching you how him and his team comps property. So make sure you tune into that. He had to move that because he's been so damn busy. But you moved that from Wednesday originally to now what day and what time, Jamil?
Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Love it. So guys, tune into both of their YouTubes. Joe Wilson says, I'm new, but I think it all starts with leads and effort. Now, Brent, I wanted to highlight that question.
Yep.
Because you said something in the beginning, do you have a business without leads? Let me ask you guys that question. Do you have a business without leads? Brent, Jamil, what are your thoughts?
What type of leads, right? That's, I think, the biggest thing. Leads are interesting because there's leads that are, you use them once, you turn them into fruit and they disappear, or there's leads that can bear fruit over and over and over and over again that you don't have to go mine anymore.
I think what you're getting to is there's some leads that are houses and there's some leads that are people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Somehow some leads are straight direct to that property owner. Some is to the people that represent that property owner. Correct. And that's fantastic. And that's a wonderful distinction. And what Jamil has done over the last, 5, 6, 7 years is really build the whole system on how to get people to bring you multiple deals a year by focusing more of his generation on the people than going direct to the seller. He does both, but most of the business, the core, the heart of his business is the people and the relationships and the squatting up that he does with the people, with the attorneys and hard money lenders and real estate agents in our area and other investors in our area. I think it's the smartest business plan. I think it's the next step in evolution for wholesaling. But as you're getting started out, going directly to the property owners is probably the most likely way that you're going to get your first couple deals.
Cool. So let me kind of reference what I'm talking about specifically as it pertains to what your opening statement was. You don't have a lead if you don't have a business. You don't have a business if you don't have leads. That's it. Nope. I'm sorry. No, you do not. You can have a website. You can have a brand. You can have an LLC. You can have a CRM. You can have all of those things built out. But if you do not have leads, all of that stuff is a waste. So when Brent says, keep it simple, guys, don't let the websites and the logos and all those things hold you back. It is really interesting. I see TTP students, I see Astro students, I see Sub 2 students that don't have a website yet. They don't have a logo yet, but they're out getting contracts, locking up deals, talking to people. So it starts with the gentleman on the left of the screen. It starts with talking to people.
Yeah.
That's how your business starts. And it's that simple. It truly is that simple. So don't overcomplicate this. People overcomplicate this so much, and they go and do everything but generating leads. And generating leads, like Jamil was pointing out, comes down to two things. You are either talking to people who are the seller of the home, or you're talking to the people who represent the people who are the seller of the home. That's it. You don't have those people to talk to. That's where you get started. Now that we have that established, I have a big question. Brent, right now in today's day and age, especially on your Wednesday live show. What would you say if I'm brand new? I have a little bit of money, right? Not a ton, but I have a little bit of money. Where should I start generating leads? And while Brent is answering this question, I want to know people in the side chat who does not have leads yet, who's just starting, who's brand new. Maybe this is your first, second, third time watching Wholesale Hotline. Tell us that you don't have leads, because we want to focus on helping you guys get moving forward. So Brent, back to the question.
This is beautiful. All right. Because this has really sparked a huge industry, right? For what we're doing, right? Before, you would have to go and you'd have to get in your car and you'd have to drive around and look for ugly houses. That's it. You wrote down the address, and then you would have to go down to either county recorder's office, or maybe they had it online, and find out who the owner of the property was. And then what most people did is they mailed them, right? They would just mail them and try to get a hold of them and get them to call you. Well, now, because we have new technology and new processes, now we have a batch-driven app where you literally can just drive around. You can click the button on this thing. This is how bananas this industry is. Click the button on this thing. It gives you, wait, do they live there or not live there? That's important. What's their phone number? That's important. Wait, is that phone number accurate? Oh, yeah. It's from the most accurate phone company in the country. Batch Skip Tracing is providing those. And you can literally press it and just call and talk to somebody right now. So the lead generation, what I see every Wednesday, Pace, this is really interesting. Every Wednesday, people go, I've got all these leads. I have a problem converting them. I have a problem. I just don't like doing lead follow-up. It's almost like this industry brings in, wholesaling as a business, brings in people that love to hustle. They love to go after it. They love to take action, and they love to hunt. But the gathering side, the lead follow-up, the pre-qualifying, the offer presentation side of things is like the biggest hurdle that I see as people are getting going. You know, I remember, Pace, real quick, and maybe you did this too, but I remember getting started in this, maybe Jamil as well. I remember being in the shower, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but I would hallucinate conversations with homeowners. You know, before I called them, I would be like, oh, they're going to ask me how long I've been in business. Oh, they're going to ask me, for a bank account statement. Oh, they're going to want to know what I'm going to do with the property. And they're going to want to know, who my contractors are and all these things. And then I'd get on the phone and be like, hey, I can offer you this amount. And they'd be like, yeah, that works. And I'd be like, oh man, I think we hallucinate more on the gathering side of the business than we do on the hunting side. What do you guys think?
Well, I see the comments in the chat. I mean, look at Lakita, Louisa, Hugh, H. Garrett. A lot of people in here saying they don't have leads yet. They're brand new. So I think we're on to something, right? Yeah. You made a good point. In the very beginning, people used to drive around with pens and paper, and now it's way too easy. It's way, way, way too easy to go out and get leads. So driving for dollars is a good one. What's another way to just immediately, today, Brent, outside of door knocking, outside of driving for dollars, if I wanted to start generating leads in the next 24 hours, what would you suggest I do if I have a budget? What would I be able to do?
Of $100, you can pull a list of 10,000 addresses, distressed, filtered out, relatively, right? I mean, it's done by a computer the way that they, kind of put the algorithms together to show the most distressed properties in your marketplace. But PropStream, TTP data, right? TTPdata.com. You go there, you'd be able to pull it through PropStream, get a list of vacant properties, get a list of properties that have liens, pre-foreclosures, all those things, right? Tired landlords, tired multifamily. You could pull any of those. And I highly suggest you get at least 1,000 addresses, and then you start making your calls. Don't wait for it. Don't wait for that. But what I'm saying is, once you start getting in the rhythm of generating leads, you're going to need a long runway of opportunities. And that's the leads that you're going to get from pulling those.
Love it. So I think this is a really common thing right here. Kim says, I'm a newbie trying to get my first deal. I downloaded PropStream, Podio, Batch Skip Tracing this past weekend. I am just overwhelmed. Does anybody else in the side chat feel overwhelmed? And what would you say would be the ailment to that, Brent?
Action. You're overwhelmed because you are stuck with paralysis by analysis. It's one of the 3 Ps, right? perfectionism, paralysis by analysis, and procrastination. So which one is it? It's got to be one of those three. If you have all of those tools and you're consistently having quality conversations, picking up the phone or going to the door or meeting with somebody that represents these people and having a good conversation with them, you can't lose. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. So if you're in action every single day, talking to people every single day, you are going to win. You're going to win.
I love that. So Luisa says $100. Awesome. Now the investors, how can I find them? How can I find the cash buyers? Jamil, the cash buyer magnet is in the center of this screen right now, guys. Luisa, number one, like I said, follow Jamil. Follow him on YouTube. Go watch his YouTube channel live on Sundays. But Jamil, how do I find the cash buyers?
I mean, honestly, right now they're everywhere. Even your retail buyers have become cash buyers. So there's no shortage of cash buyers out there. It's a true statement. But where do we find them, right? Some of our main sources of finding cash buyers, first and foremost, tax records. Tax records in and around where your subject property is located is going to be a gold mine for you. So how do you do that? Well, if you have a lead or you've got a property under contract and you want to see who's bought in and around there, you pull up the tax record website for your state or for your county. How do you find that? There's a website called NetR Online, and it'll give you the list of all the different county websites. You go to the specific county website for your county. You pull up their tax record database, and you find out who the owner of or what LLCs have bought in and around the property that you have under contract. Why would that matter? Well, if there's an LLC owner nearby, that's very likely an investor. And investors like to have properties where they already have properties. So you find out who that LLC owner is. You go to batchskiptracing.com. You skip trace that LLC, you give them a call. Another way to find cash buyers is combing the MLS every single day. I've got multiple Keegley staff members that do this every day. We comb the MLS every single day, and we look for what appear to be new flip properties. And we look at who owns those flip properties. And why is that important? Well, if somebody just listed a flip today, guess what they're ready to buy? Their next flip. So they're not only a buyer, but they're a buyer that you've hacked for timing. So do that every single day. Do that every day. There's typically, in Arizona, there's at least 5 or 10 new flip properties that my team can go and scrape the MLS for and skip trace and reach out to those buyers. Those are brand new. In addition to that, everybody knows the real estate market is hot, and especially high net worth people. High net worth people know the real estate market's hot, and they want to protect their capital against inflation. So how can you get a hold of them? You go to Zillow.com and you would adjust the search parameters to only show you properties that are $1 million or more. $1 million or more. And you see where are the $1 million neighborhoods in the area that I'm looking or that I'm doing business. Pull a little list of properties in that, find out who are owner occupied. Okay, so you're looking for owner occupied at that point, who live in those $1 million neighborhoods. You skip trace them, you find out their phone numbers, and you call them. Most of them are doctors, accountants, dentists, chiropractors. There's interior designers. There are so many people who live in those neighborhoods, architects, and all of them want to have a conversation with you, the individual who can bring them instant equity because you have access to off-market real estate deals. Those are just a few.
One thing we really haven't done a good job of is I don't think we've highlighted finding cash buyers quite enough on this show. I suggest we make a show dedicated to Jamil showing us how to find cash buyers. Maybe he brings in a couple of his team members from Keegley. They talk about netr.com. I knew when you said that, Jamil, you were going way too fast on that. So let's reiterate the name because you got multiple people, Bernice Crocker, one of them on the screen here saying NetR, NetTor, NetAir. Can someone please help me spell that out?
It's netonline.com.
Netonline.com. And I'm getting people, in the comments as well, just saying, honestly, Devil Dog Knife says, honestly, that would be amazing. Jamil, would you be up for that? Maybe bringing some key players over at the Keegley offices to come in here and talk about finding cash buyers?
1,000%. I'll bring Gabby on from our intake team, and she'll walk through how she spends a day finding cash buyers.
Awesome.
Okay, great. A lot of comments. Pace with that will be great. Yes, please. Yes, please. I think that's a winner chicken dinner. Jamil has something to show us real quick.
That's it. This is it. netaronline.com. And you go to, there's a section here. It's called Public Records Online. Public Records Online. That's where you're going to find what you're looking for. And then there's also a property data store. That website will change your life.
I think we need to do a better job, because look what happens when we reiterate it 3, 4, 5, and 6 times. People still are confused by it. So let's just make sure we type it in the side. netaronline.com, guys. We are going to put it on the screen for you so you can get that resource. And it sounds like Jamil is up for having Keegley come in and show us exactly how to find those cash buyers.
Yeah, why don't we do that on a pre-show one week? And because it's not a compelling episode to watch the things that they do, because it's a computer, right? It's all computer stuff. But we'll do that on the warm-up show, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, cool. TTP. Yep. Alan Jr. says he's sending mailers, postcards, SMS, and no response. Is there likely to move list? I don't know what that means. $7,000 invested and nothing, zilch. I don't know if there's advice to give him, maybe a little bit more questioning, but what kind of questions would you ask this guy?
Yeah, a couple different things is, is your schedule set up to answer calls as right when they come in? Because what he's describing here is marketing. All right. That's much different than prospecting. Prospecting is you do it on your own time. You're having conversations on your own time. You're either knocking on doors or you're picking up the phone and calling, right? This is marketing. This is getting them to call you. Now, in any market, I don't care where you're at. I don't care if it's a big market, small market, whatever it is. If you're not answering those calls live, they are going to call the next postcard. They're going to call the next mailer. They're going to move on. All right. So that would be a question. Now let's just assume, Alan, that you are answering all those calls live. What I would tell you is, and this is just reality, and this is literally numbers from my business. It costs us $11,000 to get one deal from direct mail. So you say 7,000, depending on where your market is. I'm not sure where you live, but 7,000 isn't even, you're only like 60% of the way there in a competitive market. And it just depends on what you're sending and how easily you are responding to them and pre-qualifying them and moving them through the process. So there's a lot of different things. There might be leads in there, but maybe there's a conversion issue. There might be leads in there, and maybe there's just you didn't answer it live, so they moved on. Right. So there's a lot of different moving parts there. What I would say is keep your budget small, be more proactive. I like that you're doing SMS. Obviously, SMS is getting disrupted a bit, but you can still do a good amount to get some leads coming in and get some deals. I think the bigger guys are going to be really impacted by the Traced Act. But the smaller, if you're sending out a couple hundred a day and responding, I think you can do some damage there, but you got to be on it and you got to get them on the phone and you got to have a good conversation and pre-qualify them. And I think that's some of those things. I have the phone stuck to my face if they call it Los Angeles. Oh, bro, you're 20,000 minimum in Los Angeles.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Jamil and I were just texting with Scott Oots. I think we should have Scott Oots come on the show because Scott Oots does $600,000 a month in revenue in Riverside and LA counties.
Yep.
So, and I have a lot of students in LA that are doing a lot of deals. I have students doing creative finance deals utilizing astro flipping in LA, getting and not using any lead cost. Okay. So definitely take a look at that. But I think we should have Scott Oots come on. I think that would be a crusher episode. Don't you guys think?
100%. He's amazing, and he's got it working in one of those markets that really is difficult to connect in. And as Brent was saying, it's minimum $20,000 for marketing expenses if you're trying to do direct to seller in SoCal.
Right.
I did have a question for Alan though, because he said $7,000, but then he listed off, a multiple different lead generation techniques. So was it $7,000 in one of those things, or was it $7,000 spread out over all of those? Because if that's the case, Alan, I think you might also be experiencing not enough impact, not enough impressions on or not enough penetration in one of those marketing channels, right? If say you spent 2,000 in text messages, or you spent 5,000 in direct mail, or only 1,000 on cold calling. I mean, I want to know, where did you concentrate those resources? Because if you stuck with one marketing channel, you might have more success doing it consistently rather than trying 4 inconsistently.
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. I wouldn't worry about one comment in the chat. A lot of times you'll get somebody that has a bad mic.
Let me know if I need to adjust it.
You sound great. You sound great.
Yeah, LA's a lot. I mean, you're going up against people that spend millions and millions and millions and millions a year on marketing in that market, because they're going to go straight to them and they're going to do those flips like Scott. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
So, yeah. I would go. I would get real, Alan. Just to give you some advice on lead generation, and this is the advice that I give to everybody, any one of my TTP students in LA. You need to build a really, really, really good driving for dollars list, and focus like incredible amount of effort on that, and also go after vacant land. Go after vacant land. Go after vacant land. Go after vacant land.
There's a couple of people in here wanting to, they're feeling like they're overwhelmed a little bit. They said, hey, will you guys work on Batch Dialer as one of the episodes? I think that's one of the conversations of, like, maybe it's a warm-up show, what Jamil said a little bit earlier. I don't think we need to dedicate a whole episode to that. However, if you guys have not signed up for my Zero to Hero challenge, go and watch that Zero to Hero challenge. My partners and I right now started a brand new business just as a challenge, and to show you guys literally step by step the process of starting a business from scratch. It was 6 hours, guys. It took us 6 hours total to create a fully automated lead generating business in 6 hours in a brand new market. That's LLC, literally a website. We had a company name. We had a logo. We had cold call leads coming in all within 6 hours of actual work. And we did it live, and we are still doing it live. Today was day 6 of a 15-day challenge. We already have leads coming in. We're already negotiating with sellers. That's how quick and simple this business really should be. So if you guys want to watch that challenge, the recordings come out probably in a month or so. Zero to Hero, REI.com. And we're also doing a challenge. We're doing a challenge in season 2 of Zero to Hero, where I'm actually utilizing creative finance and astro flipping combined to show people how to build a business from scratch. Jamil and I are going to be having some fun together in season 2. This will probably be sometime in October, November, where we'll actually utilize astro flipping to show you guys live how to build a live business. And I don't know what market we'll do it in. It doesn't really matter what market we do it in. But if for people who are challenged with budget, astro flipping and going that direction, where you don't have to get a dialer, you don't have to get a system, you don't have to get all these things set up, astro flipping is probably the best way to jump in and start working this business. So if Jamil, do you have something on your YouTube channel explaining astro flipping, like what it is and how to learn more about that?
Yeah, or just send me a DM and we're happy to chat. Of course, always love to help people out. And there's so many astro flipping family members in the chat. Squat up with them and ask them their experience and how they're liking it and if it's working. I mean, I've got, what's interesting, and I don't like self-promotion too much, but I'm going to do 2 pieces of it right now. First things first, you guys know that I'm not actively doing outreach to agents and wholesalers right now because I'm filming a TV show with Pace. How could I be, right? It would be impossible. But do you also know that I made $100,000 in assignment myself? $100,000 in assignments, me, if I was an acquisition rep. I did $100,000 worth of deals last week, and my phone rang. My phone rang for every single one of them. Every single one of them. Relationships. That's the power of what I teach. Yep. The second thing I want to talk about is I have a student, Nicole. She's a full-time nurse. Full-time nurse. She shows up to our coaching calls. She's sitting there on the coaching calls in her scrubs. On her break, she's on the call. She's talking. And in the last 27 days has made over $20,000, done 3 deals, and done over $20,000 in revenue just from learning the techniques that we teach in astro flipping. And she's got zero spend, zero ad spend, zero marketing dollars, no lists, no skip tracing, nothing.
Love it. And I would say upwards to 90% of the students that really are communicate with me after they become successful in my program go to one of your guys. They do. You know, they're either in sub 2 or astro, like right next. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible to watch.
So if I'm a brand new wholesaler, just talking to you guys, and I'm tuning into Wholesale Hotline, what are the things I should really be worried about with 2021, whether it's regulation, whether it's new law requirements, new licensing requirements? Is there anything off the top of your guys' head that now exists in 2021 that did not exist in 2020, 2019, 2018, whether it's, oh my gosh, I'm in Illinois, I have to have a license to do more than one wholesale deal? Is there anything that I should be aware of if I'm a brand new wholesaler? Texting laws, cold calling laws, what do you guys have?
Well, you know, I don't like giving anybody legal advice, right? And I think, guys, I'm going to give you the disclaimer right now to say that don't take any of these suggestions as legal advice. You always have to have an attorney or an accountant or whatever look at what you're trying to do. But here's the thing. I think that all of those, you know, licensing, you know, can I or can't I, they all happen after you've done your first deal. In Illinois, you can wholesale a deal. You can do one assignment without anything. A lot of these places, you don't need any license to do your first deal. So why don't we worry about people getting their first deal done? And then once you've got your first deal done, go worry about your LLC, go worry about getting licensed, go worry about if there's things that are necessary in your market that you have to do in order to be compliant and legal. But there's already so many mental obstacles that people have that keep them from getting started. I think that it's kind of overwhelming if we start to talk about, you know, those other things. It's post deal one, in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. What do you think, Pace?
I agree with it. I think Brent has had some of the best content in the last couple of months regarding all of this stuff. What say ye, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing. There's going to be changes with texting because the carriers are tired of people getting spammed by every industry. It's not just real estate, it's every industry. So they're putting the clamps down on that, which is great. When it comes to calling, the dialers are not considered robo dialers. That was a big thing that was coming down that we were, you know, looking at closely to see how we would have to adjust if the dialers like Batch Dialer comes under the new laws. But the laws say that a human driving it is not robocalls. The robocalls are coming from actual robots, and they're shutting that down. So I think that there's a ton of opportunities there. And I think that people have been telling me since 2013 that there's too many wholesalers. It's too saturated. You can never do it. It's going to be too tough. Since 2013, when I first discovered the word wholesaling, everybody's like, oh no, it's you know, there's too many wholesalers. Like what? And then you just keep going. And 2008 years later, there's too many wholesalers. It's too saturated. Well, this is the best year that we've ever had. The best year, the biggest deals, the most fun. It's been absolutely incredible. So I would just say to everybody, stop the noise. What are you doing? I am telling you right now, if you are calling people, if you are proactive, if you are reaching out to agents, if you're building relationships, if you're squatting up, if you're dedicated on learning the skills that it takes to close on a deal, you know how to pre-qualify, present, and close to that property owner, which is a skill that can be developed and can be increased. You have all those things going for you. You can't lose. I'm telling you, that's what's so exciting. The problem is people think that if I don't do it in 30 days or 6 weeks, then it's not going to happen. It's going to be too tough. And I'm going to go into crypto. I'm going to go find the next new crypto blockchain. I'm going to invest in it at 30 cents on the dollar. It's going to go up to 3,000. I'm going to be 100 millionaire. And this is how I'm going to do it, baby. Great. Just listen, if that's your path, that's your path. But if you're truly in love with the idea of being a real estate entrepreneur, you need to give yourself 90 straight days of pure grind. Not thinking about education is over. Education is done. Listen to the instruction that you are getting on these shows every single week on our individual YouTube channels, on each one of us. We all have it out there. You look for the pure instruction there and you take action on that and see what happens. See what happens. I'm telling you, you'll be unstoppable.
Okay, but how do I handle when a seller asks me my business name or company name and I'm just brand new? Should I tell them that I'm a solopreneur or give me something?
I'm a small local business. I'm a family business. My business name is Thomas Real Estate Investing, and I work one-on-one with you. I love communicating with the sellers that I work with. I'm not a big company. You're going to be really taken care of. So what did you think about the price that I'm willing to offer you?
Guys, write that one down. I want you guys to write that one down. Also, here's what my line is when somebody asks me, what's your company name? I go, oh, it's just me and my wife. We're just we're a small mom and pop operation. Nothing more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I pause and I don't talk right after I say that. Oh, it's just me and my wife. We're a small mom and pop operation. Pause.
Yeah, Daniel crushed it right there. Put Daniel on there.
Daniel Quijano?
Yep. Boom. Nope. The one at 537. Up a little bit.
No. Oh, my answer is honestly, he says he's one of my great students. He's actually the gentleman who runs the role-playing competition that you guys have both judged. Daniel's amazing. By the way, we have Chris Voss coming into our next competition.
Woo.
Pretty amazing. My answer to this is usually, honestly, I'm just a private investor, a small family operation. If you're looking to work with a big company with a fancy website, I'm probably not your guy. What would be, that's like, I'm going to give that a 9.9, Daniel Quijano. What I would do is I'm going to add one little line to that. That's so perfect. And you set up the runway for this. I think what you do is you say, if you're looking for a big company with a lot of overhead and a fancy website, I'm probably not your guy. Because if you say a lot of overhead, that denotes that they are going to take advantage of the seller. So write that one down, guys, and give Daniel Quijano some love. Honestly, I'm just a private investor. We're a small family operation. If you're looking to work with a big company with a ton of overhead and a fancy website, I'm probably not your guy. That one's a really good one, Daniel Quijano. Guys, let's put that one to bed. Write that one down. Put that in the Wholesale Hotline archives, okay? Next time that question pops up, somebody better have a copy and paste ready to go, because somebody's going to ask that in the comments and say, what do I say if blank? And now you guys already have the copy and paste locked and ready to go. You know exactly what to say to that now. That's a really good one. So does that mean I should never have a website or a logo or any of that kind of stuff, Brent and Jamil?
No, I think that that's just putting the cart before the horse. You know, a logo and a website. Here's the other thing. A to Z Property Management. That was before Keegley, BK, right? Before Keegley, I was A to Z Property Management, and I operated as A to Z Property Management from 2012 to 2015.
That was you?
Yep.
I remember seeing that all over. Yeah.
All over the place. That was me, homie. Never had a logo, never had a website, didn't have Jack. I only had the LLC for the liability protection. There was no brand. I was the brand. I was the person.
We need to get Chris Chico on this show.
I was just going to say that. I was just on his podcast the other day. Him and I are working on a collaboration between his students and my students right now. Chris Chico's a kick-ass guy. Chris, give us some love in the comments, man. Let's go hang out in Miami. Have you guys been following his Instagram, his mom cooking and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, she got that home cooking Puerto Rican food, bro. We gotta go.
Yes, empanadas and all that. Oh my gosh.
That Puerto Rican fried rice. Come on, baby. Yum.
Let's go.
Okay, so Rhonda Thomas back with another really good question. She says, when setting up a business, should I set up a solopreneur or an LLC? Which is better? Now, I'm going to answer this. Maybe Jamil and Brent have a different opinion. Go get your first deal and don't think about anything else. Go get your first deal. Now, as you get that deal in contract, you can buy that and assign that in your personal name. It's not the end of the world. It's an assignment. You're not holding a contract. Nobody's going to sue you and take that assignment from you. It's an assignment. Okay. Go get a contract. Stop worrying about the LLCs at the end of the day. However, you absolutely need an LLC to be a true business owner because of tax purposes, protection, and all sorts of things. But I can tell you, if I'm brand new and my budget is tight, I'm not spending $300 on an LLC. I'm spending $300 on a couple of lists and a bicycle from the secondhand store, and I'm going to bicycle for dollars.
Yep.
Okay. So absolutely. Chris Chico, by the way, is inviting us out to Miami.
Done.
Guys. Empanadas.
Done.
Yes.
Love it.
Chris, we're going to reach out to you and get you on the show. We'd love to chat with you about everything you're doing. You're a legend in the game. He's got somewhere over 3,000 students nationwide that my students are going to be collaborating with. And I'll behind the scenes, I'll talk to you guys about what we're doing and see if we can get you guys involved in some of that as well.
Love it. This is a landmark show for us guys. I think this is the very first show where none of us are wearing hats.
Jamil and I are not allowed to wear hats on the TV show.
I know. You just got done filming. You just got done filming.
Yeah, we were filming in one of the rooms in my house, and I just walked over. All the TV people in the set is still set up over here, and Jamil's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to bolt home." And so yeah, nobody's wearing hats.
I like it. I like it. All this cabbage, showing this cabbage off, showing that lettuce.
Here's a good one, Jamil. Ricky Shea says, "Hey, I got a property under contract for $56,000. I have posted for cash buyers on Craigslist and some cash buyer pages. Any other tips to find a buyer?" I feel like Ricky might have just tuned in, which is fine. So let's reiterate this.
Ricky, go back to the beginning of the show. I talked about some tips. You'll get those there. But also, I want to point out something. The whole post and waiting for the phone to ring strategy isn't going to serve you, bro. You are under the gun right now. You need buyers ready. You need to take proactive action. You've got to get out there and start making the calls. You've got to send the emails. You got to send the texts. You have to make the connections. The buyers are not going to come to you, my friend. They're not. The ones that are true cash buyers that are fixing and flipping and are busy, they don't have time to hang out on Craigslist. They really don't. In fact, most of the buyers that buy from us at Key Glee, we have to hand deliver them the deals. We have to call them, text them, call them again, text them again. We have to blow their shit up. Excuse my language. We got to blow them up because they don't want to miss the opportunity, but they're on job sites all day. They're ordering material. They're dealing with contractors. They've got so much going on. So much going on. They don't have time to check websites. They don't have time to go to Craigslist. They don't even have time to look at the email blast when they come out.
Post in the comments where you have this deal, and there might be a buyer in the comments. So at least let everybody know, or they might have a buyer for that deal. So make sure that you're squatting up here. I see some people already reaching out saying, "Hey, I can help out." So post where that deal's at. That's the point of this. Squat up.
Here's a great question. Jesus Hernandez has asked this a couple of times, and I was waiting until he asked it the 6th time before I answered it. So here we go. This is number 6. Congratulations, Jesus. That's called persistence, and this will be rewarded. Okay. Pace. Let's say the ARV on a property is 500 and the seller wants 470. They are dead set on that number. Where should I go from here if this is my first conversation I'm having with the seller? Well, let me show you a deal. I got to pull up the address. It's a deal I just did in Texas. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to go I'm going to go iPad style for just a second, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
So I've got a deal in Texas. Okay. Seller wanted $550 for a $500,000 house. Has anybody ever had that situation? Has anybody in the audience ever had a seller that wants $550 when the ARV is $500?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every single day. So what did I do? Guess what I did? I bought it for $550,000. Okay. And I will give you guys the address here in a minute. I got to pull it up. It's in Dallas, Texas. And what I did is I got the seller to give me a loan. The seller wanted this. Okay. Seller says, give me $550,000 as my purchase price. And I was able to convince the seller to take $20,000 down. So I gave him a down payment. And then the seller financed me the remaining $530,000. I'm sorry, $530,000, and gave me a 3% loan on that money. So the seller became my bank, right? We call this seller finance. And I ended up taking that property, and that property right now is bringing in $14,500 per month on an Airbnb. And my net every single month is $9,400 after all of my expenses. That's payment to the seller. That's utilities. That's my management fee. That's my overage. That's my, what if somebody tears the carpet? That's my, cleaning fees. That's all that stuff. $9,400 on one deal. So at the end of the day, do I really care that I paid $550 for a property that's only worth $500? No. A lot of people don't care. They're buying cash flow is what we did here. Okay. And when people say don't buy things with zero equity, I'm sorry, I disagree strongly with those people, because a lot of people bought properties in 2006 and 2007 that lost all their equity in 2008. And guess what they did? They kept those properties cash flowing with renters and Airbnbs and corporate rentals, and they carried on the way through. And they are so glad they kept those properties, even the ones that were underwater. Okay. The people who bail out on a cash flowing property, make sure it cash flows first and foremost. Now, somebody's going to come in here and go, well, dang, man, I'm on Wholesale Hotline. You're telling me $20,000? I got to come up with $20,000? No, you don't. What you do is you assign it to somebody, and that $20,000 is what you do. You go to the seller and you say, I'll give you the $550 with a $20,000 down payment. And you turn around and you find a cash buyer like me who likes to buy Airbnbs and cash flowing properties, and you sell it to me for $570. And truly, yes, I will pay that. And I would have given somebody a $20,000 assignment. So I would have brought $40,000 to the table. $20,000 goes to the seller, and $20,000 goes to the person who brought the deal to me. I care all about my $9,400 a month in cash flow. Now, I bought that property roughly a year ago, that $550 property a year ago. Guess what the house is worth now? The house is now worth $575,000. It's gained a good amount of equity, or it's caught up to itself. So, Jesus, have I sufficiently answered the question that has been asked 6 times? It took me about 4.5 minutes to answer that. You said, let's say ARV on the property is 500, seller wants 470. I just gave you an example where the seller wants $80,000 more than what you're saying. And yes, they were dead set on that number as well. I just told you right now what to do with that. You go to the seller and you ask the seller if they are open to take terms or to take payments for that deal. Okay. If a seller is dead set on a number, here's what I look at. Wholesaling a cash deal solves pain.
Yep.
Wholesaling a creative finance deal solves gain. The seller wants gain. A seller who has a home paid off or is in a good situation that can establish their opinion of this house way above Zillow, and they say, nope, that's the number I want. We all know they don't have pain, but what they want is gain. So if you show them, I'll give you the $550 you want, and I'll pay you an interest rate on top of it, as long as you give me terms and a rate that makes sense for me, I will give you the gain you are looking for.
Is there a balloon on that, Pace?
There is a 10-year balloon on that, yes.
And did they own it free and clear?
This seller did own that free and clear, but a lot of the houses
really smooth.
That was an easy one, but I bought one 2 weeks prior to that. That the seller, we bought one for like 400. Seller owed 300 and had $100,000 in equity. We gave him $10,000. Here's one. I've got one going right now. It's closing in Decatur, Georgia. I'll pull up the address and give it to you guys. Kind of scared about that because it's closing this week. You always have some knucklehead in the side chat. Marcia Webster. Let's pull this up. 1931 Willow Way. 1931 Willow Way in Decatur, Georgia. 1931 Willow Way. Let's pull that up just real quick. And I'll do a screen share with you guys. 1931 Willow Way, Decatur, Georgia. So this property is really interesting because this property, the seller has $180,000 in equity. $180,000 in equity on this deal. So when people say, oh, well, yeah, the seller had the house paid off, makes sense. Here you go. This house right here sold in 2020, 12/16/2020. Okay. I believe I'm buying it for like 280 and the seller only owes $100,000 on it. So he has $180,000 in equity. And guess what he's doing? This is where it gets a little tricky for some people. The seller is giving me, we call this a hybrid deal. Okay. What does a hybrid deal mean? Hybrid means the first position is a sub 2. Means I'm taking over the mortgage at about $100,000. The second position is a seller finance where the seller is financing me their equity for $180,000.
Is he in second lien position, Pace?
Yes, it says, sir. Second position there. Sub 2 is always going to be in first position. Right? That's with the bank that he's with right here. It's I don't know what bank it is, but let's just say it's Chase Bank. So he owes Chase Bank $100,000 in his personal name, and he has $180,000 in equity that he could sell on the open market right now. But guess why he doesn't want to sell on the market and get all that cash? Capital gains, taxes, right? Jamil's got it. So in order to reduce his taxes and also spread those out, he's giving me his seller finance loan. So I'm going to have 2 payments, one payment to his seller finance at 180 and one payment to the sub 2. The interest rate he's giving me is a big old whopping 0% And
was this an investment property for him, Pace?
It was not an investment property. He was actually planning on moving in it, but he had something change in his personal life that put him in a situation where he's like, you know what? I just need to get rid of the house. I don't want to maintain it or even put a renter in there. I need to just get rid of the house. I gave him the number he wanted. Okay. So let's remember the number one reason why creative finance will dominate any other strategy is because we can give them way more money than any other strategy. This is only useful when somebody doesn't have pain, which is what wholesale solves. Okay. So when you have a seller that is dead set on a number, here's why a seller, let me tell you something. Here's why a seller will not sell to you on creative finance. There's 3 reasons why. I'm going to give you those 3 reasons right now. EJ88, I have actually bought a sub 2 deal from Brent Daniels of a seller who has already passed away before Brent Daniels even got the lead.
Yep.
So forget about buying a sub 2 and then the seller dies. We had a seller who passed away. I then took it through probate utilizing Rylas Dana, who is an attorney on the show. And then I took it over sub 2, which I still own to this day. But the 3 reasons why a seller won't sell to you on creative finance, there's 3 reasons. Number 1, they do not understand the benefits of how creative finance will actually help them and get them what they want. That's number 1. And what that typically means is that you have not explained it properly, which also means you have over-explained it. Go back to the very beginning of the show. Jamil and Brent were talking about keeping it simple. Creative finance, you keep everything super simple, okay? The second reason why somebody won't sell to you on creative finance, the second reason is because they need the money right now. My daughter's getting married in 2 weeks. I need that chunk of money to pay for the wedding. My right leg got cut off and I need to get a surgery. My, car crashed and I need a car. They need the money right now is the number 2 reason why somebody won't sell to you on creative finance. And the third reason why somebody won't sell to you on creative finance is because they literally have zero pain, and don't have a reason to sell, and you should move on. Okay? That's it. So when you have somebody that wants too much money and you're calling these sellers and they want way too much money, you want to really ask them if they are open to selling to you on terms. Okay? Just FYI. Sorry, guys, that took me about 11 minutes to answer that question, but I wanted to make sure that was hammered home.
Got
it. Here's one. Cara Madden. What do you say to build rapport before asking if you are interested in selling, Mr. Brent Daniels?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends, Cara. You know, when you're reaching out, you're getting straight to the point. You're trying to catch the people that have that thought in their mind already. They're kind of going down that path, but they haven't fully made that decision yet. So, you know, you can go into the relationship and just talk to them if it's face-to-face, or if you're networking, or if, you know, it's an agent or an attorney that you're talking to or whatever. But if you're reaching out to a property owner, let them know why you're reaching out. You know what I mean? If it's an ugly house, if it's a house that's beat up, if it's a house that needs some love, and you're reaching out to them and you're like, hey, I'm your neighbor. I just want to reach out and find out about you and the things that you like. But then you're like secretively trying to like see if they want to sell their property. It comes off super gross. It just turns out super gross. You're just not being real. You're just trying to fake it to them and put yourself on as somebody that you're not. Just go right at them and see if they would consider an offer in their property. If not, then move on. You're going to find people that will, but you are not going to convince somebody to sell their property at a wholesale price. You're not. I don't care what special words and what wisdom and sales skills and experience you have. They are not going to go through the title and the title company and the closing attorney and sign all the identity statements and all the paperwork that's involved with selling a property because you are really good at charming them. It's not about charm. It's about, are you there at the time when they're ready to make a decision with their distressed property? So we are deal finders, not deal creators. All right. So just go there and be yourself. A lot of what you're trying to do with building rapport, it comes with your tone of voice. It comes with the way that you respect their time and you respect them and the way that you talk to them. If you talk to them real blunt and real aggressive, then it's not going to be as good. But if you go with it and you sound kind and you sound optimistic and you sound likable and you're certain that you can get the job done, you're going to have an opportunity to get that deal when they're ready to make that decision. So don't try to, move it around. Don't try to move the rapport thing in front and try to like soften them up for the blow of, hey, oh, by the way, I buy houses. Do you have one that you want to sell? I mean, it feels pretty, it feels like a lot of work and fake. So just don't do that. Just be yourself and ask them if they'd consider an offer.
Jamil Damji, are you interested in comping a property for us real quick?
Sure.
Guys, was it last week's show or 2 weeks ago?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago, Brent Daniels, Pace Morby, myself, speaking in third party. Oh my gosh. Jamil Damji had a show dedicated to just comping properties, and Jamil sat here and probably comped 50 properties. It was amazing. He went through his appraisal rules. He went through exactly how he does it, what he thinks about, etc. Let me throw that on the screen for you, Jamil. Oops, let's make that full screen. Boom. All right, Jamil. He's going to pull this up. I'll give you the address whenever you're ready. Just tell me.
Can you see my screen?
I sure can.
Awesome. Give it to me.
All right. 2622 Marvin Avenue. And that is in Dallas, Texas, 75211. Jamil, what software are you using? And is there a discount code for me to sign up for this? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm using Batch Leads. I actually helped them develop it to provide really, really, really good comps. And the code that you could use, if you go to batchleads.io/squad up, Pace, if you can put that in the comments, you can get this software. It's incredible. You can also use their list services and their skip tracing to contact sellers. I highly recommend them. So right off the hop, we got a 1939 build, 1164 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath. Batch has a value estimate of $333,000, which we got to take with a grain of salt. Let's see what else we can find out.
Why is that, Jamil? Is it like they're taking aggregate or something?
Because this isn't a human. This is just, they're just doing a cross section of information, and they're giving you their estimate, and they even give you a confidence score. So they know that this is a robot. They're saying they're 73% confident that the value is 333, but there's a 27% chance they're wrong. So we don't leave things up to chance. We check. I just mess with these filters because I want to see as much data as possible. I'm not really going to go and look for houses built, 30 years away from our subject property, but the more data I can find, the better. And I find
do you care only about sold actives, or do you care about pendings as well?
I care about pendings, but I need 2 solds near a pending in order for me to say that the pending is usable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at these red numbers right now, which are the solds. I've got 407, 319, 386, 238. And that scares me, man. Those are like dramatically different.
Well, look, this comp is very close to our subject. Now, It is 400 square feet larger. So we know we're below 385. Okay. So I've got that. I at least know we're below 385. Let's see what this 320 looks like. Boom. Check it out. Almost a model match. 1938, 1939, 2-bed, 1-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath, 1116, 1164. This sold at 320. Now we know we're below 380, and we've got a model match at 320, but it's from 2020. So I feel like we've increased in value since then. So we're probably somewhere in the middle between 320 and 386. Let's check out this active over here. We've got an active, and let's see what this looks like. It's renovated. So we've got an active right now. That's a 43 build, 3-bed, 2-bath at 1647. So it almost looks like things might be trending down a little bit over here, because look at where that sold, and look where this active is sitting, 375. So
could it be that it corners that busy street over there, the double street?
Does it corner it, or is it? I don't feel like it corners it.
Oh, it doesn't. You're right.
Not
one house over. I wonder why that would be.
Yep. So it's just a thing, right? It's maybe this little area is a little softer than others. Let's see if we can get one more data point here just to kind of drive it home. What's this behind us? Too large. I'm gonna go with a blend between these two. I think that the 386, the 375 active, and the 319 give us a really solid indication that we probably have an ARV of about 330, which is very close to Batch's estimate.
Interesting. Love it. So how much of this do I rely on software, and how much of it do you guys actually reach out to buyers and just say, hey, I'm looking at a house in this neighborhood, do you mind comping it for me, and actually asking buyers? Do you ever actually reach out to buyers before you lock up a contract, or before you get maybe a wholesaler to bring something to you?
No, we're really dialed in on understanding value. And so for us, we've got our backstop numbers. We know what number Keegley would be a buyer at. And so as long as we have that number in hand, we can go to a seller and confidently give them, or a wholesaler and give them a number that we can purchase at, because we know what our thresholds are. Now, again, guys, I'm not telling you to do that, because we have bankroll. We've been in business a long time, and we definitely have been very, very well trained on understanding value. But you'll get there too. You will get there as you do this more and more and more. The more confident you can get with your numbers, the more powerful your decision-making skills can be. You can be very intentional. Look, if you're having a conversation with a seller right now, that specific property, right? Say, for instance, your seller says, if I could get 200,000, I'd be happy. And you knew right off the hop that the ARV on that was 330. Would you not write an offer, and would you not be even more inclined to maybe give some non-refundable earnest money if you had to, just to beat out your competitor? Of course. Why shouldn't you? You should be confident. Having a knowledge of value should give you the confidence to walk out like a boss and actually gamble if you need to gamble.
Well, let's play this out because they want 250, Jamil. What do you think it would wholesale for? Let's just say that it's 1,100 square feet. So let's just, without needing a roof or whatever else, let's just say it needs 35K.
Well, they
or
want
whatever. Use your simple math. Go for it.
They want 250. The ARV is about 330. I think you can get them to 230. I think you can get them to 230, and I think if you got them to 230, you could find a buyer at 240 for that all day long. I could find you a buyer for that at 240 all day long.
You know how I price dropped somebody this morning on I was dropping somebody off at the airport this morning, and my team reached out to me and goes, "Hey, we locked up a deal a little bit tight and we need to get a price drop." And I was like, I hate doing that. It's nothing worse to me than price dropping a seller.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you guys a little nugget. Okay. Whenever you're calling and you're going to price drop, and this is not even necessarily about price drop, this is also negotiating with the seller before you even get them into a contract. What a lot of times I'll do with my team is I'll say, "Hey team, set up a call with the seller and myself and just tell them that your funding partner is going to be on the phone." So I get on the phone as the quote unquote funding partner, and the seller and my team member are on there. And what I do is I tell them, "Hey, this is Pace. I'm the funding partner. I'm the person that funds all the transactions. Just wanted to get on here and just make sure that we had this all clear. You were looking for $250,000. Is that correct?" And they say, "Yeah, we're looking for $250,000. Didn't they tell you already?" Well, I go, "Well, yeah, they did tell me, but as the lender, the person who evaluates deals all over the country, I look at this and realize 250 is way too much for them to pay. I'm actually going to advise them not to buy the deal, and I think we should put our money somewhere else. Are you dead set on the 250, or should I maybe fund some? If I could fund 230 for this purchase, would you be good to move forward with them?" So I disconnect myself. I did that this morning on a call, and I was able to get a price drop of $20,000 by just saying, "Man, I don't see the value of this. I don't even know why you guys are negotiating at the 250 mark. Let's talk about 230. That's something that I don't mind writing a check for." And so it became this what was it? There was a TV show where it was like, "Let's call the banker and see if the banker will give you the money." Do you remember the show?
Deal or no deal.
Was it Deal or No Deal?
Yeah,
that's kind of how I set myself up.
They had the babes, the suitcases, the guy in the black box over there, and then they'd always
I'm the guy in the black box, and I position myself as the authority in that spot. So Jamil's right. I think if somebody's at 250, you definitely can get them down to 230, especially if they're openly telling you that they would take 250. That's them telling you, "Hey, you know what? I do have wiggle room. You need to negotiate with me, and you need to get me to that 230. So if you did get them to 230, Jamil, is that now a deal if the ARV is at 330?
I think so. I've
got it at 242. Yeah, 242 it sells at 330 with 35K in rehab.
There you go.
So 242 is my buy price if I'm going to be the cash buyer and I fix and flip it, or do I lock it up at 242 as a wholesaler?
Lock it under that.
Lock it up at 230, sell it at 242. My sale price would be 239.9, so Brent would have got a couple grand more than me.
Well, always.
Not always. How many deals did I bought from you?
Oh man.
That's good information. I think, I mean, look at the comments. People are loving that. By the way, guys, we streamed to multiple platforms today. We're actually streaming to a handful. We've got close to 400 people watching live. So thank you so much. We do really, really appreciate all of the love and the support for the show. We've been doing it 71 episodes. Have we ever missed a week?
1 week.
We took a pause for a week.
That's right.
Yep.
It was a really weird week.
And by the way, 4th of July is Sunday. The 5th of July, we will be here.
We will be. 100% we will be here. So if you guys ever want to have somebody comp your properties, Jamil, if I need somebody to help me comp a property, where do I go?
Please come to Straight Outta Compin on Sunday, and I'm happy to help you. In fact, on Sunday, I do 2 hours of comping. I'm on Ty's show at 4 p.m. PST on Sundays. Ask Flipman if you don't know who Ty Taylor is. That came out weird. His name is Ask Flipman on YouTube. That's who Ty Taylor is. And I'm on his show at 4 p.m. on Sundays. And I'm on Straight Outta Compin on my YouTube channel the next hour. So there's 2 full hours of comping. There's no reason why your address shouldn't get comped. Come show up, bring some popcorn, bring your pen and paper, and bring some addresses. Let's comp some houses.
What about a pool? That's a question just to round out Paris here, because Paris mentioned it a couple times. What about, I believe this has a pool. It obviously depends on the condition of the pool. If the condition of the pool needs to be resurfaced, if it needs all new guts, you're probably looking at 15,000. I would assume. It just depends. If it's a diving pool, it'll be a little bit more, just because it's, more surface area. But I would add 15,000 if it needs some love to that pool. But what do you get back from that? Yeah, maybe. It just depends. I would look at those comps and see. But
pools and landscaping don't pay.
It's weird. It should.
I spent $30,000 on hedges, and I spent another $20,000 on palm trees, and my homeboy. Anyways, I can't get into it, but there's about $100,000 in landscaping at my house. Of which, how much do you think I can get in value?
$7,000. Zero. No, yours. It's beautiful. It adds to it. Your house would look really crazy if it didn't. It's part of the house. It's part of the house.
Yeah. Comes with the house.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
Nisha, she's dope.
She is great. She's a sub 2 and an Astro student, right?
I don't know if she's an Astro. I know she's in sub 2, and she's also Justin Halen asked, "Is Jamila transgender?" Sure.
I actually, when he asked that, I actually blocked him.
He's back.
Unblock him. You know what? I'm not letting these. I'm not letting negativity get to me. Whatever. Okay. I learned my lesson. Nisha Hyde. She's amazing. She's a friend of the show. She's always supportive and always fun.
She's amazing. So, Brent.
Yeah.
I'm brand new to the show. Check this out. Ian says, "Hey, gents, I'm just joining and missed the entire show." That's okay, guys. That's what happens. We end up having about 1,000 people tune into every live show. And not everybody can watch this show all the way through, right? It's an hour and a half. I'm sure some people catch it on their drive home. Some people catch it while they're cooking dinner. Some people catch it doing whatever, okay? And that's perfectly fine. We want you guys to watch whatever you can. Go back to Brent Daniels' YouTube or any one of our YouTubes and watch the replay. Go to iTunes, listen to it, whatever, okay? Gents, this is my first show. I will be tuning in from here on out. Thanks for the tips. You guys will find me in your IG inbox, but you can disregard. Okay, so the reason I highlighted this is this. Brent, I'm brand new to Wholesale Hotline.
Yes.
If you were talking to someone who's brand new and just said, where do I start? Do I go back to episode 1 of Wholesale Hotline? Should I go back to January? What should I do? How should I consume this? What are some tips that I should be following as I'm following Wholesale Hotline?
One, you got to get totally obsessed with this business. You got to be listening. I mean, we've got hours and hours. What's 71 times 90? I mean, we've got thousands of hours here of straight to your dome, straight to the brain instruction on how to be successful here. All right. Just keep it simple. Find an ugly house, talk to the owner, and get deals. That's where it starts. So but with that, you're going to have so many other distractions. You're going to have so many other people trying to pull you in life's responsibilities and commitments and all these other things, whether it's a job, whether it's kids, whether it's a significant other, whatever it is, is all vying for your time and attention and your current job and current career, whatever else. So you need to buckle down. You really got to surround yourself. You should be listening to this podcast all the time. It should be going off all the time. You should be watching this every Monday and rewatching it when you have time. Just play it in the background. I am telling you guys, I probably listen to podcasts and audibles probably 20 hours a week. And that's conservative, right? I mean, for real, like that's all I do. I will any chore, anything, I'm folding laundry, I'm listening. Anytime I'm sitting there, kids are in bed, I'm listening. Anytime I'm driving by myself, I'm listening. Anytime that I'm getting ready for a Wholesale Hotline, something's playing, getting ready for the live show on Wednesday, something's playing all the time. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. And I'm telling you, if you just take that one piece that is usually filled with entertainment, which is whatever, silly videos or, just regular music or whatever.
Do you know how much that is a day, Brent, before you go any deeper? Do you know what the average American is spending on entertainment every single day?
I assume
I heard 7 hours. That I was just reading a book where he said 7 hours. I couldn't believe it. I didn't. Where do people have that many hours?
What I read the same thing, dude. Check this out. It's while they're driving, they're like TikToking, they're Instagramming, they're going on Facebook. It's not just at stoplights. It's like I'm literally driving. They're on break at work. They're in between work. They're driving home. They're talking to their significant other and scrolling through. Then they lay in bed and they watch Netflix or Hulu or whatever else. If you guys took that, and the average truly is 7 hours of consumption a day of entertainment.
Yeah. Think about it. We have 24 hours in a day. We sleep. None of us sleep 8 hours. I try my best, but nobody does. So let's say you sleep 6 hours on average. You got 18 hours. You work at your job or whatever else. You have some responsibility, or you're in school, you're in the military, whatever, 8 hours. Now you've got 8 hours. There's your extra 8 hours. You got to do something with it so people exercise and they get entertained. All I'm saying is just switch it up a little bit. You don't have to take all 8 hours. I'm saying maybe take a couple hours. Take an hour. Take 30 minutes to put good stuff in your brain, because the world is going to pour shit and negativity into your brain at all times, all connected to this. But this thing can be your link, your little tunnel into really positive thinking, really optimistic thinking, people that are actually succeeding and people that are out there literally telling you exactly how to do this. It's all out there. It's just press and go and actually taking that action. It starts with ugly houses. Talk to the owner or talk to somebody that represents that ugly house and get opportunities.
So, when Brent says that he listens to Audible, I knew I wasn't the first one or even the only one that thought this, but I was like, Brent always suggests the best books. Always. Yeah. Like to this day, Cody Barton, my business partner, will ask me, hey, has Brent suggested any new books to you? Because he loves the books you suggest. He takes them on vacation. He digests them. It then becomes the only thing he talks about are the books that Brent talks about. Okay. Yeah. So Brent, are there any books that you're currently reading right now that you want to break down for a couple of minutes for anybody so they can consume the right type of content in between?
You know what? I'm going real old school. The issue that I have with a lot, because I've been doing this for years and years and years, most of the books, business books that we put into our brains are written by ghostwriters. That's just a fact. It's written by really talented writers that will do an interview with Pace. They'll do an interview with Jamil. They'll do an interview with me for 12 to 20 hours or whatever. We'll just do some interviews and then they'll put together a book. And it's mostly, it just feels the same, right? It's all, you have to inspire people every 6 pages or you're going to lose them. You got to be able to put graphics every 3 pages or you're going to lose them. You need to make it between 150 to 200 pages so that you can get $30 for the book as opposed to $18 for the book. People feel better if they pay more, if it's a thicker book. All of these things go into it, right? So I'm going old school, listening to everything that Earl Nightingale has put out. And he's put out he was on the radio forever, but Earl Nightingale is the guy. Earl Nightingale is there was Napoleon Hill and then Earl Nightingale. They were like best buds, and Earl Nightingale was the radio guy. He was the mouth, and he really went bananas. And it's just incredible to put into your brain is Earl Nightingale. The other one is Business Made Simple. I forget the guy's name. It's really good, really simple read, Business Made Simple. And that's one that I would suggest as well.
I've got a book I've read 15 times. I love it so much. It's called Raising Private Capital by Matt Faircloth. It's a Bigger Pockets book. Matt Faircloth wrote the book for Bigger Pockets. And I'm actually doing a collaboration with Matt Faircloth this Thursday. And I wanted to know if that would be a topic. I know this is a wholesale show, so I don't know if raising private capital would be interesting, but I would love to have Matt Faircloth come onto this show. He would love to be on here talking about how to find private lenders, how to find people to bring money to the table for fix and flips and stuff like that. Jamil and Brent, would you guys be open to something like that?
Love it. Yeah.
Cool. By the way, how did everybody like the episode with Sean St. Clair?
Awesome.
So he wrote me an email this morning. He says that new contract is going to be done this Friday. I'll email it over to Brent. I'll email it over to Jamil. And what we'll do is we'll release it to all the TTP, the Astro students, and the Sub 2 students. Anybody who wants it can have it. You guys can blast it out to your people.
Love it.
Brent, read Mastery by George Leonard.
Got it.
Mastery by George Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an Audible or just a book?
You can get it on Audible.
What's that about?
Mastery.
It's just mastery.
What it takes to become a master at something. It's, the different stages of becoming a master at a specific craft or a skill. I would go out on a limb and say that the three of us would be masters in our crafts and in our fields of what we respectively do. Brent, lead generation, cold calling, he's still running a very successful wholesale operation that's their only way of doing business. I'm the network dispositions master, figured out all of the ways to completely change that way of doing business and explode it to scale, which you guys have seen unfold dramatically over the last 5 years. And Pace, you'd be the master of seller finance. You came out of the pressure cooker, fully formed and ready to completely absorb the entire space and field. And how and why? Why? Because you took something that has been so difficult to explain and have been able to condense it to its essence and then teach that to people in ways that they can explain to sellers and do business. Like, the three of us have become masters at it, and everybody who's in the chat can become a master of this craft as well. Every single one of them. Just
bought it, Jamil, and yep. I got the hardcover because I got money like that. Okay.
And crap, bro! Stop flexing on us.
And what that talks about is how to the different stages of when you start something and what that looks like, and then what the next stage looks like, and then what the next stage looks like, and then that way, as you're going through this journey of wholesale, you can listen to or look at what stage you're at, and then give yourself grace and understand how you're feeling and what you're feeling is completely normal. And it's happened all the way from tennis players to hacky sackers, to professional football players and real estate professionals. All of us.
Love it.
Same stages.
But it's putting good, and most of the books, honestly, Pace, most of the Audible that I listen to is podcasts. I vibe with it. They're a little bit longer. They're a little bit looser. They're a little bit more engaging, in my opinion. So I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I listen to Craig Groeschel's Leadership. I listen to Dan Sullivan's, what the heck is it called? Dan Sullivan does the Multipliers podcast, Multiplier Mindset podcast. Tom Ferry, I like listening to him. He's more of a traditional, but he's got some good stuff. Podcast, and Wholesale Hotline.
Jamil, are you a podcast guy?
No.
You're not listening to any podcast. You're just you're a book guy.
Books? Yeah.
And gangster rap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's those two things. Look, if there was something else I could add into that, I would. But my car is either playing educational books about business or spirituality or gangster rap. And it depends on what day of the week you catch me is what you find. But it's one of those two.
Daryl Ellison says, who is Mastery by again?
George Leonard.
Love it. And then Michael Diaz says, Pace, what was the book you were talking about on Sunday service about avoiding capital gains? That one is called Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wilwright. He is actually the CPA, and it has been the CPA of Robert Kiyosaki for years and years and years. It's a great book. Tax-Free Wealth, Tom Wilwright. Really, really good book. It is somewhat annoying and boring when it's not pertinent to you, but when you're actually going through the throes of making a lot of money, you really, really care about that book, and it becomes so important to you. And it becomes something you probably read 2 or 3 times just to make sure you don't miss anything.
Jamil, it's not Robert Greene?
No, he wrote a version of it too. That is also good. But what George Leonard does is he distills it. Robert Greene tells a lot of story by example, and he can really take what George Leonard does in like 200 pages and turn it into 1,200. That's why George Leonard's book is better.
I'll get both.
Yeah. I've read both.
Okay, so Jeremy Harlow says, there are a lot of people on here new to real estate investing. Any ideas on how to set a daily action plan that could be executed weekly to build consistency in lead generation and follow-up? Brent, do you have any sort of action plan you talk about on your YouTube or on your weekly Wednesday lives?
Literally just type into YouTube, Brent Daniels action plan. I have a 30-day, I have a 90-day, I've got a daily. It's all there for you. Everything's there. Yep. You really want to get gangster, go to ttpinsider.com. ttpinsider.com.
That's legit one of the best websites I've ever seen in my life.
It's getting better.
ttpinsider.com.
We're putting a ton in. We're putting a ton in. Yeah.
Your team is legit, like the best in the business.
Hey, let's put up Google Oof Oof's comment.
Who's that?
He's in the chat.
Okay. I don't see. Oh, here we go. Hey, do you guys close on deals or assign them? If you guys assign, how do you guys get around the intent issue? Jamil, that's you, brother.
We absolutely do deals. We do deals all the time. We close deals and we fix and flip deals, and we also double close and we also assign, and assignments and double closes are exit strategies. And what we teach the people that are on this chat and are in this show, and the wholesalers that are a part of our ecosystems, is how to leverage the community, their communities and their spheres of influence in order to never have to have that intent issue ever be a problem for them. That is the essence of squatting up. That is why when you have somebody who has the capital to back your contract, you are no longer in any peril. And so Gugu, oof, oof. If you'd love to understand that at a higher level, please, please, please get with somebody in the comments who's been doing business, who's having $100,000 months, and you go out and do some lead generation and find an opportunity and squat up with them and see how far that takes you and see if there's any issues with intent after that.
Yeah, Gugu, when I started out, I had an investor that would close on anything that I thought was a deal. So I went with a lot more confidence, putting properties under contract, because I knew that I could close them. Now, progress, 6, 7, 8 years. I have the intent to buy every single property. It is one of our exit strategies. It is one of our, it is just one of our business strategies. Now, do we assign 90% of them? Yeah, we absolutely do. We'll put it out there. But if we can't assign it for whatever reason, I'll close on that deal. If it is truly a deal, which I look at all the deals that we do, and we do phenomenal deals, I will close on all of those without a doubt. So just find somebody that's going to be your financial partner and let them say, listen, every day I'm going out there hustling up off market real estate opportunities. If I find something that is a really deeply discounted property, would you mind being the bank? And you'll get it.
I feel like you guys answered Gugu Oofoof's question. He's saying, please answer my question. I'm struggling.
It's time delayed.
Oh, I mean, that was 5 minutes ago. That's interesting. Okay, got it. Jamil, Brandon Kimball says, how do you find institutional buyers?
Depends on the kind of institution you're looking for. There's small institutional buyers, and then there's large institutional buyers. Small institutional buyers are easier to do business with, and they'll usually have their own set of smaller real estate agents, bird dogs, their feelers. They're guys that are out there that are in marketplaces, in spaces, looking to connect with people in this space. And a lot of them will actually be at networking events. They will show up to them because they want to buy those properties. The next thing you can do is also start doing research. See what LLCs own multiple properties in an area, right? 10, 15, 20 properties in a specific area. That's very likely an institution. Skip trace that, or see if they've got a representative that they're consistently using on the MLS. That's a representative that you can then communicate with and get a connection to through. The larger institutions, they're always working with real estate agents, always. So your best bet to connect with them is to find out who their representing real estate agents are, connect with them, bring them opportunities, and do business that way. But they're very easy to work with. They want to talk to you. They don't want to hide under a rock. These guys aren't hiding behind anything other than your lack of knowing where to find them.
Yep.
That's it. They're there in the open, ready to do business.
I love that comment that Daniel has there. Can you see that face about them doing like storage wars auctions in front of that?
Yeah, the front lawn. Yeah, that's so good.
I would assume that they probably own those properties, or they have signed some sort of disclosure, or they're vacant homes or whatever else. But I would assume that they probably own those and they're just selling them in the front there.
No, I know exactly what he's talking about. It's there. There's a couple of larger wholesalers that work in Texas. They're decent people, net worth and New Western. That's their model. They actually run an auction on the lawn.
I love it.
They'll pull cards. Or numbers, and it'll go to the highest bidder. And how do I feel about it? I personally think that buyers get butthurt and you lose relationships that way. We don't do it. It's not my style. It's not our style of doing it, but I have no problem with people who have different styles. So Net Worth and New Western are enjoying that way of doing business, and they continue to have success. So your call is up to you. I'm a relationship person, so that feels counterintuitive to me.
Awesome. You want to wrap it up, Pace?
Yeah, I do, but I want to point something out real quick. Demetrius just made this comment. He said, I'm signing up for y'all's courses. I am so lost. So, I think about this a lot. Forget about the courses thing. Forget about that. I'm thinking about, some people feel lost. And I remember Tom Kroll talking about how if you can't teach a third grader how to do it, you don't know how to do it yourself. So I want to take a poll. Who in here, we've got 350 people watching live right now, who in here feels that we need to slow some of these things down and focus on one topic, that the Q&As are a little bit too bouncy? Because what happens is sometimes you'll talk about something and Jamil will answer a question so magically, but then you want to spur that conversation on and dig deeper to fully hammer it home. But then we have these Q&A questions that we want to, jump onto as well. So let's take a little poll in here while we're wrapping the show up. I'm curious. Do you guys feel like we should slow these things down and talk about one thing at a time and just focus on one topic per show? Or do you like the bouncing around? Do you like the Q&A? Let's take a goal. Tons of comments already. Slow down on lead conversion. Slow them down. I like the one topic shows. It allows the depth and time it deserves. I like it. I'll be honest. It does bounce around from time to time. I like the one topic conversations. Please slow down. Marketing to owners. Okay, there's another question. Love it. So some people are saying they like it as is. Maybe we do a poll.
I think we do a blend, Pace. We do a Q&A every once in a while, and we do a one topic every once in a while, and everybody wins. I think there's a time for Q&A, and I think there's time for diving in, and I think we just figure that out, and on a monthly schedule, maybe we dive into 3 topics and do one Q&A.
Love it. It stresses me out when somebody says I'm so lost when, I think about this and I'm like, how do I put myself back in a position where I didn't know this stuff? How do I put myself back in a position that, and Ralph Pena says a blend is great, right? I love that. So I think Jamil's right. I think that we got to blend it up a little bit. So I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes if you're brand new to this show, I would say the last 80% of the shows we've gone deep dive on one topic, 80% of the shows. And we've had some really good guests in here. So what I would do is if you are lost, go back to the very beginning of January, Wholesale Hotline, go to Brent Daniels' YouTube, and we started running how to get started in wholesale was episode 1 of January 1. Start there. Okay. If you're a little bit confused or you're a little bit overwhelmed, go back to some of those episodes. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of mix it up because we find passion in this show and we love being here. But we want to have fun on this show as well, kind of bouncing around, doing some of that kind of stuff. The Q&A today was fun. It was a lot of fun today. So anyway, guys, if you have not, please go to iTunes, leave us a review. If you have not, go subscribe on Jamil Damji's YouTube. The dude is crushing it lately, especially on his freaking comping show. Are you kidding me? It's one of the best shows of all time. Truly. There's not many shows in wholesale, or not even wholesale, real estate in general, that have that topic even covered in its depth that Jamil does. Brent Daniels, best show of all time. I feel like, is it like a wholesale variety show? Is that kind of how you would describe it?
We have a topic every week. I get up and I teach for 15, 20 minutes. Teaching is a loose term. It's more instructions. It's more going over current things that are working in the business, how to find really good opportunities and how to convert them, and then how to sell them. So we start out that, and then we open it up. We do a lot of comping. We do a lot of question and answer. Sometimes we have live calls, depending on how the internet is here. We try to make it as fun and entertaining and exciting, but instructional, all in the same thing. So it's a whole lot of fun. We put a tremendous amount of work into it, and we love doing it. So we'd love for you to join on Wednesdays at 10. And if you want to watch any of the replays, they're there forever. And if you just want to clip out the most important things, you can go the first 15, 20 minutes and get a good instruction on maybe a question that you have at the time.
Last comment of the evening. I love Jamil. If he wasn't married, I would propose to him. You know what? I would too. In fact, him and I were doing big spoon, small spoon earlier today inside my house. It was a great time.
Too hot for that. It's 115 out. What are you guys doing?
Oh, man. He can't help it. He was laying down in his theater, just like this, just laying on the ground, and I'm like, oh, there he's Little Spoon. I gotta go be Big Spoon.
Jamil said it perfect. There's a time for Q&A. There's a time for topics. PB and J are all phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing. You all could stop today and we'd still be set for life. Thank you for saying that, Brandon Mitchell. Guys, we love the comments. We love the feedback. We love the subscriptions. It makes us feel good about what we're putting out into the world. Thank you so much. This was Wholesale Hotline number 71. Guys, what's our topic next week? Should we bring in maybe Scott Oots or Chris Chico?
Oots. And then
right.
I love them both.
Either one would be phenomenal. Either one. So check on availability of both those guys, and it's going to be an unbelievable show, especially after the holiday.
Got it, guys. I'm going to do a poll on our Instagram. What we're going to do is we're going to get both these guys committed. We'll see who you guys want to come in first. Actually, it's 4th of July weekend. You know what we should do?
Yeah.
Is we should probably do another Q&A for 4th of July weekend so that we're not disrupting a guest coming in here. They might be traveling, all that kind of stuff. Are you guys down for that?
That's cool.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you next week on another Wholesale Hotline number 72. Later.
Love you guys.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3. So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.